I know it doesn't look like I'm in costume. It's more of like a conceptual thing where I'm sort of like in the garb of an American citizen in constant psychic terror. And I think I see a few others in a similar costume. Yeah. In any case, I am going to be reading a story. It is called Man Crawls Across Parking Lot.
Water? Anything? Are you sure?
Alright, once more. Man crawls across parking lot. He has no idea why or how he should have come to be here, nor why he should be compelled to place one forearm in front of the other and drag himself that much further forward. Yet even in his perplexity, he understands what a simple and somehow exquisite thing it is for him, a grown man, to be engaged in the minor transferal between limb and space that is this, the motion by which crawling is comprised. Even when a knee encounters a particularly rough expanse of concrete and flesh is thereby further frayed from flesh, there is, in that pain's immediacy, a certain primordial pleasure. At these moments, any distant concerns regarding a circumstance are made all the more distant, lessening the very heft of comprehension and that of corporeality also. Unclad save for socks, shoes, and a pair of tattered orange boxer briefs, his figure has been rendered so stark and severe in the course of this crawling that what remains is perhaps a man made as physiological incomplex as possible. His existence is no more than that of the tangible, his purpose no more profound than the mere continuation of crawling. Put another way, it is as if he has transcended the place of man altogether. Even the blood he is seen to bleed is in service of the crawl. The crawl is sickened by it. The crawl cannot be done without it. The blood is like life with which the act of crawling is continually imbued. Only as his fingers happen upon metal does he find himself reverting to the station of man. This metal is hotter even than the concrete, so that his hand is delivered a jolt like that of a sudden wild flame. Cessation of crawling is forced upon his physical assembly. A comprehension of sorts returns in the manner of some grim weapon recoiling. The man understands now the metal is that of an open door, the open door that of a yellow car. It seems somehow logical he should hoist his body up from the concrete and into this vehicle, where soon he discovers himself to be gripping the hard plastic of a steering wheel. In truth, he feels a certain relief here in the driver's seat, in what he recognizes as a common bearing of his species. Moreover, the man can recall now a momentum far more resolute than crawling. He can recall, too, the notion of a key by which this momentum might be initiated. However, no key is to be found in the ignition, nor in the glove box, nor amid the coins collected in cup holders. With what he has come to determine to be an emotion akin to distress, this man determines he is, in fact, distressed. Only then does he realize there is an unpleasant odor. It is, in point of fact, a stench. So abundant in its emanation, it could be likened to a second being here in this yellow car. His attention turns to the passenger seat, where sits an opened cardboard box. In this box sits a putrid spherical mass, its putrescence evinced by a shaggy layering of white, like the pelt of a dying animal. The man can even discern an undulation beneath this pelt, as if there is to be observed now the heaving of a final sickly breath. It is not, however, the heaving of a final sickly breath, but rather a multitude of small black creatures burrowing through said pelt, until it is there unbound and shooting forth by force of wing. Upon further reflection, the thing in the cardboard box reveals itself to the man to be no more than a pizza. This word, pizza, comes to him unexpectedly. As for the small black creatures, they are nothing more than flies. This word, flies, comes to him unexpectedly also. Here now, the man recognizes certain ruptures in knowledge are currently in the process of reconstruction, though it is difficult to dwell upon the matter due to distraction. Consider how vast in number these flies are growing. Consider they are circling their rotten bounty in a delirious and ever-expanding haze, so that the stench is drawn further forth by means of their turbulence. The man wonders what ought to be done. For the first time since hoisting himself up to the driver's seat, he peers through the windshield, halved diagonally by a single crack, and notices a silver pickup opposite. Beyond this silver pickup is a row of long, low buildings. Windows halved in much the same manner as the windshield are fractured further into quarters, or fractured further still beyond any accounting whatsoever, so that what is observed is a scene of considerable desolation. Above these windows are emblems: Rite Aid, Petco, Little Caesars, Golden Dragon Buffet. Though the form of certain letters are fractured in a manner similar to that of the windows, still other letters are omitted altogether, so the man must puzzle out a fuller configuration of words. He decides then something is badly awry here. Yes, he has come to believe it of no little importance that this desolation be fled from, and he therefore hoists his personage back out of the yellow car. For a moment he stands upon the concrete before he begins to sense that the intricate architecture that once comprised his left ankle has become so disconnected from both foot and leg that it is really rather implausible he should be standing at all. Bone is allowed to strike bone, and pain thereby made to spark via this awful friction until the tinder of muscle ignites. It is of a heat far greater than even that radiating from the white sun above, and body is quickly bent by feeling of flame. He is crawling again. One forearm is placed in front of the other as he drags himself that much further forward towards the silver pickup, which he has come to deem a mode of escape. Soon he is passing a frayed length of brown cloth, and another length beyond. Just as he earlier puzzled out a configuration of words, he must now puzzle out a fuller configuration of this cloth, in order that he understand it once was fashioned into a pair of pants. Still more frayed cloth presents itself, a white sleeve purpled by ossified lake leavings of blood, and he cannot now help but conclude these to be the remains of what once dressed his near-naked body. These remains not only suggest the extent of this man's crawling, but its intensity also. That is, his attire appears to have been stripped away by sheer exertion, or has he crawled forth from his prior garb like some elemental being shedding unnecessary hide? He himself cannot fathom the answer to such a question. He can hardly fathom the asking of it. In truth, a kind of forgetting has begun, whereby memory of his crawl to the yellow car diminishes more and more with each successive foot of concrete gained. Even the yellow car itself and the dreadful disclosure contained therein is diminishing in such a way that the mere fact of it may never have been encoded and retained by his mind to begin with. For a moment, he is dimly aware of this, the process by which the forgetting is done. Then he has forgotten anything at all. Instead, he has found in the act of crawling a certain primordial pleasure. Even when flesh is further frayed from flesh, there's a kind of pleasure to be had. At these moments, the very heft of comprehension, and that of corporeality also, is lessened, so that the crawling is a thing wholly unto itself. It needs neither God nor man to prevail. Put another way, the act of crawling exists in absolute. Only as his fingers happen upon metal does he revert to the station of man. A comprehension of sorts returns in the manner of some grim weapon recoiling. He understands now the metal is that of an open door, the open door that of the silver pickup. He understands, too, He has made his way here in effort to flee. From what precisely he intends to flee, he cannot now recollect. Nonetheless, he finds himself in the driver's seat of this silver pickup. One hand grips the steering wheel, the other a key already inserted into ignition. With what he has come to determine to be an emotion akin to hopefulness, the man determines he is, in fact, hopeful. He turns said key. When nothing happens, when the silver pickup's engine fails to affect the very dynamism for which it was fabricated, in which the man can recall via some ill-defined memory, he turns the key a second time, and a third, and a fourth, and still many times more before his hopefulness is felt to dissipate. Only then does the man realize there is a stench so abundant in its emanation it could be likened to a second being here in this silver pickup. His attention turns to the passenger seat, where lies a long, sinewy assemblage that appears to have been concocted solely for its own ruination, its ruin evinced in part by a bulbous outgrowth at its furthest reach, around which stretches tissue of the rawest order. At the center of said outgrowth, this tissue is stretched nearly to the point of translucence. Beneath this translucence is to be observed a writhing black mass. The word corpse comes to the man unexpectedly. Indeed, he recognizes the outgrowth now as that of a human head, though it looks to be swollen to a size far larger in scale than might otherwise be considered normal. And its translucence has all but nullified nose, mouth, and other facial attributes. All that really remains of this corpse's bygone humanity is a pair of pale green eyes, and these too are soon nullified as the black mass writhes further upward, squeezing between bone and indiscernible skin, until pupil, iris, and all burst, and sockets bulge with darkness. Finally, the scalp splits apart so that the corpse's long brown hair whips aside, and the mass emerges like an obsidian testament to the preposterous. More preposterous still is the divulgence that this mass lacks the solidity it first appeared to have. It is unknotting itself now in such a way that a great many black tendrils are made manifest, and the man must speculate as to whether he is perceiving some abominable appendage reaching its way out of an unfathomable psychical stratum into this, the physical realm. The man finds he is crawling again. His left leg no longer exists, or if it does, it does not exist in any form useful to him. One forearm is placed in front of the other as he drags himself that much further forward towards a yellow car which he has come to deem a mode of escape. A kind of forgetting has already begun to occur, whereby memory of his crawl to the silver pickup diminishes more and more with each successive foot of concrete gained. For a moment, he is dimly aware of this, the process by which the forgetting is done. Then he has forgotten anything at all. It is then he spots what he believes to be a reflection of himself. Upon further study, the distant figure only bears a slight resemblance to himself. He wonders, perhaps, if it is an illusion conjured by the blaze of the white sun and the concrete's shimmer, a creature shaped by the very intensity of this day's heat. No, this being is real. It is a woman, naked, save for sandals, a pair of underwear, a tattered beige bra insufficient to steady the sway of some terrible weight the man cannot fully comprehend. She is crawling away from a blue hatchback in the direction of a white van. One forearm is placed in front of the other as she drags herself that much further forward. Her long brown hair clings to her shoulders by means of perspiration, and while the man now understands the two of them differ to some degree, he understands this also. They may not be like that of a mirror image, but it is possible they are like the inverse of one another. He a man, She a woman, he crawling along this path, she another altogether. Thank you.